Thank you, one and all, for being here this evening. We are now reconvening the meeting from our closed session, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by our Student Board Rep, Daniela Ruiz.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next week is Thanksgiving, a time for focusing on family, friendships, and spending quality time with those you love. Take this time to think about those you hold dear. If you are grateful for someone, let them know. With everything going on in the world right now, we are incredibly fortunate to have this be our priority. At this moment, do not focus on what you don't have, but on what you do. Remember to hug tightly, love passionately, and always reflect on being in the present moment. Please take a moment to appreciate everything in our lives right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. We will now have a closed session reported out by the clerk.
Thank you, President O'Neill. Item 4.1, no reportable action taken regarding public employee performance evaluation superintendent. Item 4.2, the Board of Trustees unanimously approved the settlement agreement in OAH case number 2023090663, resolving all issues in dispute by providing reimbursements in lieu of an IEP. Item 4.3, no reportable action taken regarding negotiations. 4.4, no reportable action taken regarding personnel. Item 4.5, the Board of Trustees voted 4-0 to accept the agreement with employee HR-2023-24-04. Item 4.6, the Board of Trustees voted 4-0 to accept the agreement with employee HR-2023-24-05. Item 4.7, the Board of Trustees voted 4-0 to make the following appointment: Guadalupe Serrano, Assistant Principal at Gilbert High School. And one last item, 4.8, no reportable action taken regarding litigation.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And would Guadalupe like to come up to the podium and say a few words?
Board President O'Neill, Board of Trustees, Mr. Matsuda, and Cabinet. I would like to thank you for the opportunity that you have provided me to serve as an assistant principal at Gilbert High School. I am both blessed and honored to be working alongside Mr. Lara and the team administrators, staff, parents, and students of Gilbert High School. Thank you, Mr. Lara, for believing in me and trusting me to lead an environment where students have given us another opportunity to learn. As an alumni of AUHSD, I grew up knowing Gilbert High School to be a school that you didn't want to attend, a school with a bad report. But I learned the very first day how wrong I was. I learned what a great and loving place Gilbert is. I learned that Gilbert High School is a place of esperanza, a place of hope. And if you know nothing of Gilbert High School, or if you grew up thinking the same thing as I did, I invite you to come and visit Gilbert High School to see what a beautiful place it is. Now, as an assistant principal, I'm looking forward to cultivate both our staff and students in the efforts to achieve our district vision for Unlimited You. I would also like to take this time to thank those who have mentored me through this journey. Ms. Mejia, Ms. Carly Rasmussen, Mr. Swans, for that space where I started my journey as a TOSA. I would also like to thank Mr. Calleros and the admin team who provided me some mentorship, compassion, and insight and honesty during those 2-3 weeks that I was with Anaheim High School. I would like to also thank Dr. Goldstein and Mr. Matsuda again for creating the LEAD program. I don't think I would be where I am if it wasn't for that program. The LEAD program made me believe in myself and made me see myself in leadership positions, which growing up I hardly saw a Latina woman in principals or assistant principal positions. And I never imagined myself being in those positions. Lastly, I'd like to thank my family, especially my husband Danny, my parents, and also my LEAD fellows for supporting me through this journey. I'm proud to be an AUHSD alumni, and I'm also proud to be an AUHSD server for our community. Thank you.
Maybe I should have mentioned this just before you spoke. If there's anybody in the audience that needs Spanish translation, we do have a translator in the rear that can help you.
Si alguien ocupa traducción, ahí está la señorita Mora acá atrás con su mano arriba, si pueden pasar para allá para recibir el aparato. Gracias.
Okay.
And can we ask those family members
Oh,
that
yes.
are here to
Yeah,
support?
the family members, Guadalupe, could you stand just to be recognized this evening? Yeah, your family.
Family.
Don't be shy, there you go. Okay, next we have perfect attendance, I believe.
Yes.
Mr. Jackson? Okay. Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, siente, sit down, please. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I get one mistake a meeting.
That's your mistake. No more.
Thank you. We're going to take one item out of order. We're moving 10.1 up into this position, so thank you. Caught myself there. And what 10.1 is, it is naming a facility of the Jan and Ross Billings Innovation Center.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second, and this is Board Policy 5201. Naming a facility was adopted on April 14th, 2011 by the board to develop procedures for the naming of facilities to honor individuals in the district. As per the Board of Trustees' request, a committee is formed to review proposals to make recommendations to the superintendent for the board consideration. And tonight, we are very honored, and I believe Dr. Jaron Freed is going to take it from here.
Yes, so the nomination came in to name the new building being constructed at Magnolia High School after Dr. Jan Billings and her late husband Ross Billings, the Jan and Ross Billings Innovation Center. When that went out as a call out for our district community to provide feedback, as per our policy, every single piece of information we got back was positive in support of naming the building after Dr. Jan Billings and her husband. So our committee met, reviewed all the applications and submissions that came in, and the recommendation on behalf of our committee is to have the board approve this recommendation.
You want to read the
Yes, and I can read specifically what it says. The Board of Trustees is requested to approve the request to name the building being constructed at Magnolia High School after former superintendent and her late husband, Dr. Jan and Ross Billings Innovation Center. Both Jan and Ross proudly served the Anaheim Union High School District. Ross provided 11 years of service to Magnolia High School, and Jan provided 20 years of service to teaching, 20 years as an administrator, as well as 20 years in the Association of California School Administrators, ACSA, totaling 60 years of service to our schools and district. The district's ad hoc committee evaluated the request, developed a report, and made a recommendation to the board for their consideration.
Thank you, Dr. Freed. So we have a motion and a second? Yes.
I would like to speak
Speak.
to the nomination as well. I served with Jan Billings as a parent, and I'll get back to her in just one moment. I was privileged to attend Ross service in 2020, and I learned a great deal about this man who we thought was kind of behind the scenes to the wonderful Dr. Billings, but he was very much in front, and they called him a Renaissance man. He was the first teacher in our district to utilize a computer to teach. Think about that, in 1975. I mean, that's how much innovative can you get? So for those of you who are thinking, questioning why, this is why. Let's see. There's just so much in the bio, and I'm sure that we'll bring more of that when that comes forward. But he worked for the, let's see, I lost my notes. He instructed, he went to Saudi Arabia when he worked for the U.S. Department of Defense that hired him to develop an interactive program on geopositioning systems. How much more innovative can you get with that? I mean, that's just things I think that we're starting to learn about even now. But he also, in retirement, taught English to students with second language, and he always loved teaching those with the greatest need, and always found innovative ways to teach students. So that's Ross Billings. And then we heard our wonderful Dr. Billings giving 60 wonderful years of service. What Dr. Billings taught me most of all was to not think of my own selfish needs. Whenever I came to a committee, she always told us to leave our ego at the door, because whenever we came into a meeting to work for the district, that's where our head needed to be, and not thinking of our individual needs and wants. And I will forever, forever treasure those meetings, and I learned so much from you, and you made me a better human being. So thank you for that.
In 1996, I received a call from an Anaheim police officer, and he had read an article in the newspaper about me, and he asked me if I would run for the school board, and I won. And this wonderful human being, Jan Billings, was the superintendent. We're the same generation. Jan grew up in northern New York. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. But we had learned through life, through the contemporary times, and the changes in society. And I have gone through life, I'm now turning 83, and I have found some of the joy in life are the blessings that come through other people into my life. And Jan Billings is one of these treasures that I will never, ever find anything but joy and gratitude. She mentored me. She mentored me through this job. And I used to say to her, I'm so grateful for your mother and your father that they produced you. And for all of you people that work in law enforcement and education, bring joy and happiness. And I've lived long enough, as Jan has, that your jobs have changed immensely, as education has. But all I can say is, in the English language, to Jan, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and for all of you wonderful people that participate in our school district, thank you.
Percy?
Jan has been a good friend of mine, and I've known her for a long time. I was lucky enough to teach her 2 daughters. And then I will never forget this, though. I mean, this lady deserves this. She needs, I mean, this has been, something that I'm so proud that we're going to do this for you. But I will never forget, she was, I don't know if you were the assistant superintendent of education or if you were just the director, but I will never forget, one day she comes into my classroom and she says, "Do you want to take a break? Go ahead." And then she took over my class. I will never forget that. I thought that was phenomenal. That is really keeping in touch with what's going on. And then, then, also, she came up with some phenomenal ideas. Our ambassador program is thanks to Jan. Jan came up with this idea, and it is now one of the, shining things here of our district, and people are trying to emulate it all over. It was a phenomenal idea. So this lady has been involved in education for many, many years, and I don't think she'll ever stop either. She's always got her finger somewhere. But this is phenomenal. You and Ross deserve this, and I am so happy that now we've got this building named after you. Congratulations. You deserve it.
Well, unfortunately, I only got to work with Jan for, I think was it 1 year? Well, I came on the board, and the next year you announced that you were retiring. So maybe it was 2 years, maybe 2 years, but it wasn't long enough. It was a wonderful time working with you. Knowing the type of person that you are and you were at that time, you were so calm under fire. And I remember some issues that came out of your office, and which you told me about, but you were so calm with the issues that were taking place. So I commend you for that, and I'm sure that that's how you lived your life through the 60 years in education. So education's better because of you, so thank you so much. And so proud that we, as a district, can honor you and your late husband, Ross. So thank you so much.
Jan, you will always be known as a teacher's superintendent, first and foremost. And to me, you epitomize kindness and love and empathy. Those are qualities that our country needs more than ever. And so all of us are so grateful to you for creating and that you have so much legacy in this district. But the DNA of kindness and love remains. Thank you so much.
We haven't voted yet, have we?
I think you vote.
I don't know. We didn't vote
We
yet.
didn't vote yet, did we?
No, not yet.
First
Okay.
and a second.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I didn't think there would ever be any opposition. Dr. Billings, would you care to take the podium?
This is a familiar room to me. While I was superintendent, actually it was the centennial. 1898, Anaheim Union High School District was born. We only had one school, Anaheim High. The quilt, very familiar. That's what we made to commemorate the centennial in 1998. Kind of folksy, but we're very proud of that. I cannot tell you how overwhelming this is. Ross would, I don't know what he would say. He loved what he did, and we will, I'm sure, honor him at Magnolia, where he planted flowers, came down and asked the current superintendent if we could turn the multipurpose room into the little theater. He was always thinking of ways to make the students at Magnolia feel needed, wanted, and that they deserved the very best that we could give them. As Anna Marie was talking about, I had a parent advisory committee in this room. And what we were talking about was when each of the schools sent their representative, the parent representative, that the discussion would be, as she said, what is best for all of the students. If a Sycamore parent cared about a Lexington parent, a student, or the programs at that school, that's what we were after, that this is one district serving all students. And the interesting thing was, Alice Knatzer, who was Alice Ontiveros, went to Magnolia High School. She was in my English class, and she was the head of the Parent Advisory Committee. And one of our first meetings, she said, all right, Mrs. Billings, you asked me, was my homework done? Now it's my turn. I ask you, did you do your homework? So here I am with a student of mine helping me run the parent advisory. How cool is that? This, 60 years. How could you be that old and still walk around and do something with the rest of your life? As I decided after my first retirement here, I was working with the Association of California School Administrators for a couple of years. Well, it turned into 20. That's how we got 2020 and 20. So last spring, as I was planning my retirement for the second time, I felt like I was on my Elton John farewell tour. I would say goodbye to the board members over here. Thank you very much. I'd go to the administrators, go to the teachers. So each group, I was saying farewell for a couple of months. And I was saying something I'd like to just leave you with, that, as Kathy alluded to, you get to a certain age and you have this rear view mirror, a long one. And you say, you know, if I had turned left instead of right, what would have happened? If I had met you instead of him, your life then becomes this long series of decisions or happenings, and you start to look at them and decide that is what brought you to today. So I was talking about this rear view mirror wherever I went, probably ad nauseum. And then a friend of mine, when we were talking about that, she said, I heard a corollary to that. She said, the rear view mirror is small, but the windshield is big. And so the future is out your windshield. Wow. So even at this stage of my life, I have my rearview mirror, but I also have the windshield. And what you have done for my family, my husband, and me tonight is more than my mom and dad could ever have figured out. Growing up from an Italian immigrant family in upstate New York, getting a scholarship, going to college, majoring in history, which is what I wanted to teach, and believe this, my interviews for history jobs, I was told if you can't, now remember this is way back in the 60s, if you can't fight in a war, you can't teach about a war. They couldn't say that today. But I persevered, taught English, adapt. I did teach a couple of history classes at Magnolia High School. We were a little further along out here. But it's been a long career, and I've been blessed with loving families all my life. I don't deserve to be this fortunate, but I am. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
All right.
Okay, now we'll go back to where we were before. Mr. Jackson. This is Perfect Attendance Awards.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone. So tonight, we gather to celebrate a valued tradition in our district, recognizing the perfect attendance of our dedicated employees. This commitment is central to the success of our schools and deserves our utmost respect and gratitude. I am delighted to present the Red Apple Award to each employee who achieved perfect attendance for the last 2 years. Your reliability and consistency significantly contribute to our dedication in providing an environment that promotes the spirit of unlimited you. Additionally, we will honor those with extraordinary dedication through the Gold Apple Award, reserved for employees with 3 consecutive years of perfect attendance or more. Your remarkable commitment sets a high standard for all of us. As we proceed with these awards, let's acknowledge the crucial role each staff member plays in fostering a supportive and nurturing environment for our students. Your efforts are essential to our success and is deeply appreciated. So please join me in welcoming our award recipients. First, we're going to call our Red Apple Award recipients up. You'll come up and get your award, and then I'm going to ask that you just stand over by that big screen right there, and then after that, we're going to take a picture with the Board of Trustees.
So we're going to...
You want to have them come down to shake hands?
Shake hands.
Yes. Perfect. Okay, so our first recipient, Red Apple Award, is Yolanda Gonzalez from Catella High School. Okay. Our next recipient is Adam Hernandez from Safe Schools. V. Hong from Education Services. Mark Lopez from Gilbert. We have Sophia Nava from Food Services. Okay. Robert Saldivar from Education Services. Okay. Grant Schuster. That's the president. We have Irma Tapia Catalan from Kennedy High School. Okay, so round of applause for our Red Apple recipients. And then I'd like to invite all of you to come over to take a photo. Two.
Just Brad.
And you. Okay, so now for our Gold Apple recipients, we have two people that we want to recognize. The first, with 19 years of perfect attendance, Jaron Freed from Education Services. And not to be outdone, we have with 21 years of perfect attendance, Bradley Watros from Tech Services. And Bradley, you can stay right up there. Another round of applause for our two Gold Apple recipients, and we'll do a photo. Thank you.
Years. Oh, okay. Yes.
I know, fantastic. Okay, next we have our student representative report, Daniela Ruiz.
Starting with Anaheim, they would like to congratulate the coach Boer on his 100th win in football. Then CVA collaborated with Oxford on a hiking adventure centralized on the wellness and mindfulness experience. Cyprus has a celebrity with Rachel Nguyen, a student at Cyprus, on The Voice, so congratulations to her. Then Gilbert celebrated Principal Lara and Vice Principal Slim for Principal Month to show appreciation, so congratulations. Catella held Trunk or Treat, so Catella's clubs and organizations got together to provide candies and activities to the community, including elementary schools. Kennedy would like to congratulate girls varsity volleyball on winning the Empire League Championship. The last time was 1994, so congratulations. Laura's Mecha Club hosted Dia de los Muertos on November 1st, where Puente, RSVP, and PTSA all fundraised and participated in creating altars, topped with ballet folklorico. Magnolia's MAC hosted a pumpkin patch event with games, props, and mazes. Students were able to bring their parents and families. Oxford hosted Hope School's homecoming with the theme Forever a Tiger, with gold decorations and cheerful attitudes that led to a special experience for many. For Savannah, the City of Anaheim funded a technology scholarship called Anaheim Tech Scholars, where Savannah students had a major success as 5 of 20 recipients were recognized were rebels. They received 1 free year of Wi-Fi devices and a formal banquet. Western had their first summit that month, and they had a major focus on ELD students and special needs with higher participation rates from previous years. This summit was a success. And that concludes the AUHSD school report.
Thank you, Daniela.
Mr. O'Brien, I'd like to say something for the audience. This position that Daniela has was started by Dr. Billings. She attended a meeting at Disneyland, and they had an ambassador. And Jan, when she was superintendent, started this position on the school board. And every year, we've had a new person come and represent their school and give their report. And I think it's many times that these people will go through life remembering this experience of participating and seeing public life as it is. And now it's been expanded to all of the schools, so they go through a process, and then each school has a selected board member, and then Daniela represents all of them. So this is just another event that Jan created, and I wanted you to understand that.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Next, I don't think we have any student speakers here since I've received no formal paper from any students, so seeing none, standing up. We'll move on to reports from associations, and I see there's one association representative here, Mr. Grant Schuster. Ask the president.
Good evening. Good evening, trustees, cabinet, and guests here tonight. A couple of things I wanted to mention in ASTA's report. First of all, today was another one of the monthly meetings that just congregations of districts with their district leadership, teachers, community partners, and parents coming to Anaheim to look at the community school model that we've been implementing now at 15 of our sites in this district since the grant process began 2 years ago. It is truly incredible to see all of these folks coming from around the state through grant money that our association has applied for, through money that the district has dedicated, through money they're getting from the state through their own grant process, coming together to learn about this model of shared governance, of involving parents, of bringing your community partners together, and really importantly, bringing culturally and community relevant curriculum to our classrooms. This isn't just something that's being done by leadership. This is something that's being done by our teachers in classrooms, by our instructional aides in classrooms, by our other support staff in classrooms every day across the district. This has been a real year of transition. The implementation of the SAI model, have people teaching in circumstances that they've never taught before, teachers that are sharing classrooms and learning to work together, teachers that are supporting students with needs that they've never had experience with before. And so there is a lot of work going on through leadership, but there's also the most important work going on day to day in our classrooms. A few teachers I wanted to point out specifically, the week after we get back from Thanksgiving break, Suzanne Miranda from Dale and Jennifer Ortiz from Anaheim, as community school teacher leads, are going to be going with several ASTA leaders to New Orleans to present around classroom instruction in community schools at the National Urban Education Association gathering through NEA. We also have teams going in January to the CTA Issues Conference and in March to the NEA Leadership Summit to really show how reimagining public education can have such power, and as we're doing in this district on a regular basis. The other thing I wanted to mention tonight, I wanted to ask the cabinet and I wanted to ask the board to take a look as we move forward in negotiations to how we can find a quick settlement. We have gotten off to a slow start, but there's been a lot of research that has been done and a lot of questions that have been asked. But at this point now, we're starting to see several districts around the county come to settlements, and currently the average settlement is about 3 times what we have on the table right now. And those of you that have been in this district, and everyone on this dais has been in the district for quite a while, you know as an association that we are always an association that looks for contracts that our members and all the other members of the associations deserve, not looking for something that's going to break the bank, looking for something that is within the district means, but is something that our members and the members of the other associations deserve. So as we head into the break and come out and start up negotiations again, I ask for us to take a look and see what we can find as a path to a fair settlement for everyone. Thank you.
Were there any other association representatives in the audience that I overlooked? Seeing none. Anybody from PTA? Nobody from PTA. Okay, we had one employee come in after the Red Apple Awards were announced, and so I will recognize her at this point, and that is Patty Neely. She. Did we miss anybody else for the Red Apple or the Gold Apple that got in and we didn't recognize them? Okay, seeing none. One of the recipients was, I don't see him here, Mark Lopez. He's the school board member from Anaheim. Oh, there he is. I just want to recognize you, Mark, from Anaheim School District, Anaheim Elementary School District. Thank you. Okay. Next, we have presentations. School Resource Officers, Dr. Freed.
All right, well, it gives me great pleasure to bring up our Director of Student Support Services, Dr. Adam Hernandez, who will introduce our guests and talk a little bit more in detail per the board's request about our School Resource Officer program.
Certainly.
Dr. Hernandez.
Thank you, Dr. Freed. Good evening, Board of Trustees, President O'Neill. Thank you for having me here to speak on behalf of our School Resource Officers. It's actually a pleasure and a highlight to highlight this partnership. Am I talking too loud? A little bit. So to highlight the partnership we have with Anaheim Police Department, La Palma Police Department, and the Cypress Police Department. In a short 3 months into the school year, our sites have all expressed tremendous gratitude and appreciation for our school resource officers. This will be a brief overview presentation, and then I'll invite our officers to say a few words as well, and I know they're excited to do that. Right. So with that, let's get started. I feel like I'm talking too loud. So in alignment with our community schools effort, our SROs truly exemplify what it means to support the whole child. With safety and culture being a focus this year in AUHSD, it is great to see our SROs supporting thriving students in our schools, which extends to families and the community itself. So what is an SRO? SROs are law enforcement officers who are responsible for the safety and crime prevention in schools. They work closely with school administrators in effort to create a safe learning environment. and they possess a wealth of experience and specialized training. And most importantly, they are welcoming, approachable, and they build positive relationships with our students and school community. And that's going to be a common theme that we will hit as we go through this short presentation. So I mentioned skilled training, and here are just a few points to emphasize, and they do a whole lot more. But they are skilled in mentorship, coaching, de-escalation. They are familiar with diversion programs like grip and shortstop, explorers, gang suppression, and they have expertise in drug recognition training. Our SROs are also like-minded with the AUHSD in restorative justice, have the restorative justice mindset towards conflict resolution. And again, building relationships and rapport with the school community is at the forefront of what our cause here is. So the structure and approach that our SROs take is based on need, but listed here up on the screen is the assignments that our officers have for their to support our feeder patterns. So I do want to introduce and acknowledge your presence here today. So as I call your name, if you could please stand and stay standing so we can acknowledge your service. So we have Officer Skeet, who supports Ball and Loera. We have Officer Lambarin, who's supporting Brookhurst and Savannah. We have Officer Hall, who's supporting South and Catella. Here we have Officer Rizzo, who's supporting Sycamore and Anaheim. And they represent the Anaheim Police Department. From La Palma Police Department, led by, I believe, Captain Guerrero. If you can please stand. And we have Officer Wilson from the La Palma Police Department. They are supporting Walker and Kennedy. And we also have Officer Martinez from Cypress Police Department, who's supporting Lexington, Cypress, and Oxford. Thank you. And I do want to acknowledge Sergeant Conklin. So he has been my kind of partner here with overseeing the Anaheim Police Department program itself. So he'll come up and say a few words in a minute. So as we work as a team, it's a team effort to support our schools. So like I said, the structure is housed for those feeder patterns, but on any given day, I call up Sergeant Conklin and we serve the needs of our district wherever they are. So our SROs on campus, there are questions that are asked on what do they do, how do they support the sites that we call them to. So they are asked to join Coffee with the Principals. We are familiar with Coffee with the Principals, and they are asked to explain their roles and responsibilities and how they are supporting the site. They may give drug awareness education. They may discuss trends in the city that involve potential crime, gang activity, drugs, and they also contribute to the emergency preparedness, i.e. lockdown and active shooter that our safety teams meet on. Now, how are SROs being utilized on campus? They do serve as a resource in the welfare and education of the school community. As I said, they collaborate with emergency response in active shooter and lockdown. They counsel students daily and sometimes even parents. And they get involved. This is the great part in the relationship building with students. They support dances, sporting events, and other school activities. They serve as a liaison to between the school and emergency service, which improves that response time because they're there on the site. And again, this idea of rapport building with students cannot be said enough and cannot be emphasized enough. Our SROs are trusted, and they believe in the partnership that we've built with them in support of student success and safety. We say building community a lot in our district. This is a graphic organizer. What I pulled from is parents, students, and administrators were asked how they felt with the presence of SROs on their campuses. And starting from the top, it's all about relationships. They engage in the activities that are on campus. They are contributors to a safe learning environment, and they definitely are personable and approachable, which is most important. And it is described, and I like this comment from administrators, saying they're actually game changers to our campuses. So, you know, they say a picture says 1,000 words, so the best way to depict their ability to build relationships, if you bottom left there, I believe it's Officer Martinez giving a message to Cypress students, potentially Lexington. Bottom right, I believe Officer Hall is in there somewhere, and a student versus faculty competition. And we can't forget the top center there with their understanding that relationships start at a young age. So having relationships with our feeder elementary schools is most important because they will be going to our schools. There's some familiar faces here. I believe this may be Brookhurst because of Gil Amancio there on the left. And in a short few slides, I hope you can see just the impact that they have to our schools. But I thought the best way to hear from them was to invite them up to say a few words on this important work that's happening in our schools this year. Aside from Anaheim, the number of years that our partnership has been with La Palma PD and Cypress PD cannot go unnoticed. So I'd like Sergeant Conklin to come up first and say a few words on behalf of Anaheim.
Hello. That was a fantastic presentation. Now I understand why you have the job that you do. Adam calls me on a regular basis, makes my wife jealous that we talk so much, but I do appreciate his partnership, his collaboration. Over the last year or so, we've built a relationship where we can call each other and be very candid about what it is that the students need and what it is that the staff and campuses require from us. This partnership started out early on. Traditionally, our school resource officers were not dedicated to campuses. You took 5 officers and they were given 60 public schools and said, go. That relationship does not work. Fortunately, we have an administration with a police department. Our police chief, Rick Armendariz, has been paying attention and listening to our concerns about the restructuring of the school resource officer program. And this is what we have today. You have officers that have dedicated offices at their feeder junior highs and their dedicated high schools. They're there on a regular basis for most of the day to be there in whatever capacity that the students, staff, and the parents need. The bottom line is our staff, our students, our parents, our extended families, there are a lot of challenges that we have and we need help. We can't do this alone. So everything from, physical fitness, mental health, undiagnosed learning disorders, substance abuse, these are a lot of things that none of us are prepared to handle. And we have to be able to do this together. So that one of the things that we focused on was the school community and not simply the campus. We understand that, one social media post can impact hundreds of families across the region. We have to be prepared to respond to that. I appreciate you inviting us here to introduce ourselves. Superintendent, I can't express enough the efforts you've made over the last 6 months at least to get this ball rolling. We appreciate that. We have a few implementations over the next 6 months or so. This is not going to stop rolling. We are going to do everything we can to make this as efficient as possible. So we have a county school mobile assessment and resource team that investigates specific school threats. They're an investigative unit for the county. They help us do that. We're starting up a school resource officer regional meeting. So in other words, all the school resource officers in Orange County are going to get together twice a year and discuss crime trends across the campuses, the overall issues that we have, standardized responses to critical incidents, and so forth. We are working with our IT folks, our technology folks, to try to integrate the camera systems on campuses with our real crime monitoring center. So when there are crimes occurring on campus, we have officers that are watching all these TVs and they can just pull up those cameras and see what's going on before these guys can even get there. So there are a lot of innovations, a lot of revolutionary things, a lot of things that we've broken out of the traditional mold to do to enhance this relationship. And I sincerely appreciate not only the administration and the board, but parents. We can't do this without you guys too. So thank you.
Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Officer Wilson to come up, or Captain.
Well, thank you all for being here today. It's a pleasure being here. I'll give a different perspective of what an SRO is or what had happened in my life. I'm here today, not because of an SRO. I wish it was that way, but there were no SROs back when I was in school. I spent the majority of my time in high school fighting, avoiding fights, avoiding the gang life. I shared a locker with 5 other students, and the only way I was going to get my own locker is for all 4 of them were going to get shot, and I had the only one locker to put my books in. Many of the times, I had to carry all books, right? And I grew up on the streets of East Los Angeles, and I won't tell you the name of the schools I went to, it wouldn't be fair, but I'll tell you what, some of these teachers, they're understaffed, underpaid, and looking back now, I understood why they didn't care. They were fed up with it. They weren't supported by the community. They weren't supported by their board, by the law enforcement officials, by the community. It was a lot going on. The only way that kept me going were my family members, my mom, my dad. They were very strict. They loved me, you know? And for many of the students, they don't have that today. They just don't. And for some of you on the board, just like me, we grew up without social media. Looking back, it was a piece of cake. If I told my friends I needed to, hear from them or call them, guess what? I had to learn to be on time to go home and pick up that thing off the wall and call, right? Remember the big extension cord? I'd go to my room, shut the door. I didn't want my mom to hear where I was going to go. That's how we grew up. And we forget that. We get busy in our lives. We forget how tough it is for these kids, right? And that's where I'm coming from with this. If I had an SRO to go to, or some of these teachers that weren't overworked and were paid, maybe they'd care about more. Maybe I wouldn't have had it so rough. Luckily, I went to college, then I went to Bible school, got educated, worked hard for where I'm at, but it's only because I had a mom and dad that cared. But these kids that don't have that, we need to support. It can't be just the law enforcement officials doing it and being the bad guys and being portrayed like we're the bad guys on the media, right? But each one of these officers here, the SROs, they get handpicked because of the personality. They mesh well with the students, and it creates a good environment. Officer Wilson has done an incredible job, just I'm sure all these SROs do. They do an incredible job out there, and it takes patience. And a lot of times, they're out there, and the students themselves, there's some pretty difficult ones. Mr. O'Neill, you know La Palma culture. You know how we go into the schools and we head them off at the junior high school level with our police interaction with youth program. High school, junior high school, we head it off there, and then we go into the high school. So we appreciate the support, any support that you give us, both, whether it's these special programs or, being out there amongst the students and the administrators. I know law enforcement, we'd greatly appreciate it. We'd have a good relationship with Mr. Hernandez. And for the parents out there, it's tough. It is. I have my own kid to deal with, my own kids. Now they're grown up. Now I got grandkids, believe it or not. I'm an abuelito, right? So, I appreciate, thank you for the, the invite today and the acknowledgement, and whatever you need, we're here for you, and vice versa. But, and for the parents out there, just do the best that you can with your kids. And if you need anything, all of us here in uniform, firefighters, the district, we're here to help. We're not the bad guys. We have our own struggles, the ones in uniform. We have our own kids too. We know what it's like, and just don't believe everything the media tells you. We're the good guys too. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I'm finding out that they're really multi-talented. I think Officer Wilson plays an annual basketball game with the middle school with Walker across the street. I just learned tonight that we have a saxophone player in Officer Lembaran. So and actually you showed me a picture, you were with the band today over at, was it Brookhurst or at Savannah? Yeah, so they're really getting involved and really get to know the kids. We do have Officer Martinez, who would like to come up and say just a quick 30-second thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. I love being an SRO, and I think the hardest part is that they're all taller than me. But honestly, it's very rewarding. I love being a familiar face, someone that they are comfortable talking to, you know, whatever it may be. But I will keep it short, and yeah, thank you.
And I'm also learning that there's a business in stickers for some reason. Our students like stickers. But that's all we have for you this evening. We wanted to keep it short and sweet, and I do just acknowledge the service that all these SROs, Captain, Sergeant, thank you for being here and giving up your time. And we are thankful for your service, and we continue to look forward to working with you guys. I don't know if anybody else has something to say.
Sure. I am very thankful for the SRO program. We had it years ago before in Anaheim, and I know La Palma and Cypress has been there too. But I'm very thankful that we were able to get the program back into all the schools through the district's work with the Anaheim PD. So thank you for that. I look forward to seeing. I've met many of you out on the campuses as I've been back to school nights. And open houses are coming up, so I'll see you again probably at that time too. So we appreciate all that you do for the kids and the parents. So thank you. Anybody else want to say anything? I'm sure they all say the same sentiment.
Absolutely, thank you. That was very well said. Thank you all for being here. I was really excited that you guys could come in, and there's is stigma out there. Thank you for being honest about that. But now, you know, there's a better picture that people have of this job. And so I hope that we can continue this partnership. Sergeant Conklin, I just wanted to tell you personally that I have seen you in action. I work at Franklin Elementary School, and I know that you had a great relationship with our prior principal, and when she called, you came and you were in the office helping with a student. And so you were doing this work before we had this recent partnership, and I thank you for that. My ask is that while you're out there collaborating with the other SROs is to find that grant money, because we do want to continue this partnership, not just for a couple of years, but we want to continue this for a long time to come. And thank you, and please come back anytime. And if you have a story, or maybe you can just you know, let Dr. Hernandez know, and he can let us know any kind of a positive story. We want to put that out there to change the idea of the social media. So thank you for coming, and we appreciate all the work you do. Bless you.
Thank you. And we like to get a picture. You know the routine.
Yeah.
Up here. Come on back. Women in blue.
I appreciate seeing you.
All right, this is great. Thank you so much.
Okay, it's great to see you. Spring. Drive safe.
Okay. Everybody back? Okay, everybody's back. Okay.
You know what? I'm remiss. Trustee Guerrero wanted to say, she wrote just a few things here. Sorry.
Trustee Guerrero is out of town on business.
Yeah, just for the record, says, this is from Trustee Jessica Guerrero. Thank you to Student Support Services, Dr. Hernandez, for coordinating the school resource officers at our sites. I had the opportunity to meet a few of the SROs during back-to-school nights and other campus events. As many of our schools are community schools, I am happy to see the SROs continue to build relationships with our school community and look forward to our partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Guerrero. So next up is public comments on open session items. Opportunities for public comments occur at the beginning of each agenda item and at this time for items not on the agenda. And we have a 3-minute time limit on this, and I have just a few speakers that want to speak. The first one, come up to the microphone when I call your name, please. Jermaine Newman.
Thank you. Esteemed board members, Mr. Matsuda, district staff, and guests. I also have one of my fellow moms here, Miss Patty Reyes. Several years ago, California changed the morning start time of all high schools to better accommodate teenagers' sleep needs. In changing the school start time to 8:30, our students are better prepared for their day and more productive at school. We all support this change. But when the change was made, the school districts failed to address our athletic programs. For years, our teams, except for football, would start their games and meets immediately after the last class was dismissed. This allows for other students and teachers to come and cheer them on. So now we have a situation where all our league games, except for football, start at 3:15. while class is still in session, or even earlier. This means that our student athletes are missing a significant number of their 6th period and even 5th period classes. This is having a negative impact on their education. Just this week alone, across the district, we had 25 games that started before classes ended. Using a conservative estimate of 15 students per team, we're talking about over 375 classes missing. Last year, my own son missed 26 sessions of his 6th period AP English language class during the boys' water polo and swim seasons. If my son missed 26 classes, the district, the school, would be calling me, would be emailing me, would be knocking on my door to find out why he wasn't there. But this is okay and ignored because it's for athletics.
It's okay.
Can I continue?
One more minute.
Okay, half the students in his AP class were also student athletes. He got a 3 on his AP exam. Imagine what he could have gotten if he didn't miss those 26 sessions. I know even other student athletes who became ineligible for athletics because their grades dropped due to the missed classes, and they just couldn't make it up. We love the athletics programs at AUHD. We have great student athletes and great coaches, but we're making it harder for them than they needs to be. We are Unlimited U. Our students should have the choice to choose between athletics and should not have to choose between the two. All we need to do is push back the start time to make it a reasonable time. We are the adults and we should be able to fix this.
We've talked to our coaches, we've talked to the athletic directors, we've talked to the principals. It comes down to the district. We need the district to work with the other districts to accommodate this and get this fixed so our students are not missing their classes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Newman. Next speaker is Art Castillo.
Good evening. Okay, well, I didn't know the officers were going to come in here. This is something that was in my interest. Again, I'm a third generation Anaheim, and we already got 2 generations ahead of me now going to these schools, and so I'm concerned for their well-being. Again, I was in 77 at Ball Junior High, and I started working through a CETA program in the Parks and Recreation. Unfortunately, we were the neighborhood, so-called Mexicans that were in the neighborhood that were being kind of in troubles with the police, always being watched and everything. And, you know, being that I'm not trying to bring a negativity, because I like this situation, as a few officers and a few people here make mention that we did have problems. You know, it's hard to have, like, you're having SROs here, but the officers in the street working with young kids, and we do have some social media, which is for on contact with police officers and the behavior, and having young kids on the sidewalks and discussing without their parents or taking pictures of them. I don't know if you guys know that, you know, little young kids are being pulled to the sides and having pictures taken and told that they're not in trouble. So I find it troubling when that happens, but again, this is something to say that the whole force needs to have some changes, because these communities are of needy neighborhoods, and, you know, they're in their own communities trying, and that's the way we live sometimes when you live in an apartment versus that we lived in home dwellings. So not a lot of opportunities in those places, you're compact in. So there's a lot of things that I would love to address with police oversight. And I do participate in the Police Review Board, and which is very a must. There is a case of this, these officers talking with a person videotaping that's under investigation for the behavior, as we are parents or adults asking for questioning these officers, and then their smart remarks and not getting back to this. So again, I came from this school, been here and helping young kids, trying to get them out of trouble, and did so, and worked with a lot of good staff that were helpful. And so we got to get a other side of the balance. That's what my opinion would be. Let's balance both sides, then, so we get a better outlook than to just be not aware of the other stuff that's happening here. So, you know, more or less, I hear all the good, but let's try to get those other things. I'm for this SR. They sound different, they sound better, and we're watching them. Keep an eye, but it just takes one bad apple of somebody to ruin it for everybody. And again, we do need this and the resources, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Next speaker is Mazo.
Thank you guys for having us here. Ni toca masa, ni toca tecpa, just stays in history and the records that there was a Mexica, a Mexican native of Native American blood here. We do agree with what the East LA, East Los Chicano officer mentioned earlier. I think it's very important that we hire more Mexican American or Chicano, or what is politically correct, Hispanic Latino officers. It's a psychological thing. If you were raised in the barrio in East LA, there is barrios like that here in Anna Drive, La Palma, when we had that shooting in 2012. But yeah, I just wanted to add that. Take the time to say that. We did have an event at the Founders Park at the Colony House. I've never been inside these buildings. I've always had this like trauma or fear of going into these big castle looking buildings. And it's so ironic that it's right behind the Anaheim Colonist, the high school and the mascot, but I know the mascot's still kind of there. I went to some meetings and it has not been completely abolished or executed yet, and I just want to be heard. We want to be heard because this is Native American month, November, and that includes Dia de los Muertos. Raul Alarcón was a football player alumni, and in behalf of him and many more warriors that either played or worked in your city. And we do stand on traditional lands of the Gabrieleño Tangwa, Aslan, occupied Aslan. I encourage you to somehow, one way or another, connect with the high schools to invite the students to have this Native American festival. This is more of the library, I think, I believe so. I'm not too sure if the school board was really involved, forgive me if I'm not correct with that, but this is a way for us to heal. We still have a name, the Colonist. It's going to come down. A little secret for you. I fast. I'm not Christian, I'm not Catholic, I'm not Jewish or Muslim. We respect those religions. Jesus died for you guys, but also a native woman named Toiporina died for the native tribes here. She led a revolt because the priests were molesting the kids and they were bringing wine and raping our women. So to end that, the name will be moved. I had a vision. I came out of a sweat lodge. We have rocks, fire, Temescal, like Temescal County, Riverside. We had a sweat, and we had a vision, and I was walking behind Anaheim High School, the gym, and I saw the words colonist not there no more. When they told me, I was behind in the dream, in the vision, and I was just numb, because nothing has been done. And there is a law that got passed, tribal law and white man law, AB 1073, Senator Ramos. But anyways, thank you, and I just wish that there's more of these type of events, and Jessica Guerrero was there, and Virginia Carmelo as well. There's more to be talked, but thank you for your work, and I hope you hear our words. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Jose Lara.
Dear members of the board and of the public, thank you for allowing me a few minutes to share with you all. On the agenda tonight, 10.9 is a grant from the OCDE to bring social emotional. It's $25,000 for Gilbert High School. There'll be another one coming up for Polaris Independent Studies. It's a grant that we applied for in order to bring social emotional learning curriculum and to build our social emotional learning teams at our schools. I want to just quickly pause for a minute because I do have some Gilbert High School staff. If you could just stand up really quick. We have some teachers and classified staff here. Stand up. I want to recognize them real quick, some of the hardest workers. Serving some of the most neediest kids in our district. And I want to thank the board, and I will ask for your support on approving this grant tonight because our kids really need it. We're going through a mental health crisis, a connectedness crisis. And it's nowhere more evident than at Gilbert High School and in independent studies where our kids are clinging to something different. We've developed new programs to reconnect kids to school, including a sports program. We developed a deeper learning lab that goes out, and we have outreach workers that go into the community to try to re-engage our families and our students back into school. We ask them to give us a second chance and to provide hope in a different way at Gilbert High School. A lot of the work that we've been doing through the capstone, we're doing the work through finding students' purpose and helping students find their purpose and what their mission is aligns with the community schools work that Carlos Hernandez and numerous other people have been leading here in the district. It's the right work and the right drivers. And we're getting noticed. We recently had a meeting coordinated with the OCDE at our campus at Gilbert High School, where we had administrators from across Orange County come and say, what's going on at Gilbert High School? What's the democracy school word? How'd you get the Mercadito set up? What's going on with all these community partnerships? How are you doing all of this? And I tell them, we do it because we have some of the kindest, lovingest staff in Orange County, and we have some amazing support from our district office. That line, that row back there, I just want to recognize right there, every single one of them have been on our campus, has said, how can we help you thrive? And I thank them for that. Because we have a district that supports Alt-Ed. Because at the end of the day, we shouldn't judge ourselves by how the students who have the most and have all the advantages, how they do in school, because they're going to do well in school because they have both parents, because they have the resources. But how are we supporting the students that don't? How are we supporting the student that's homeless? How are we supporting the student that's in foster care? The recent immigrant student that's looking for a better life? That's the work that Gilbert High School does. That's the work that all our schools do in some capacity. And we're doing it well. And this grant will help us do that even more. Board, administration, thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to,
Mr. O'Neill, point of privilege. Is
okey-doke.
it possible to move the item 10.9 up to right now, to vote on it?
10.9. I'll get there. We can do that if the board, sure, okay.
Definitely.
So you want them, okay. 10.1, okay. So we have a request to move item 10.9 forward to, at this point in time, and 10.9, agreement, Orange County Department of Education, mindfulness and well-being, CalHope 3.0.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I think Dr. Laura said it very well, and I'm very proud of the school to identify this grant and to, go out for it. And I think it's easy for us to just say yes to it. It makes sense.
Any other comments?
Just very simply, I mean, you guys got a grant, you applied for it, you got it. We're more than supportive of that. And your words about our students today really needing this is so true. Unfortunately, the students today, they need a lot more social, emotional help and care. So this is super. Thank you. Thank you for making the effort to apply and getting it.
Yes, thank you. I know it's not easy to do, but we thankful for all those that were involved in the title of mindfulness and well-being. So that's really, those are key words, so thank you so much. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's 4-0. You got it, Jose. Okay, next is 10.2, school sponsor student organizations.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And Ms. Danielle
Well, you get to vote on this one, too.
Ruiz, you vote aye?
Aye.
Okay, that's 5-0, thank you. Next, 10.3, resolution number 2023/24-F-04, approval of notice of exemption for the Orangeview Junior High School Site Improvement Project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I appreciate that in the very first line of the background, that this is in our facilities master plan that we updated in 2022. Previously, I think it was 2015. So this is just in alignment with the plans that we've always wanted to do. This isn't something new.
Yep, thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's 4-0. 10.4, resolution number 2023/24-F-05, approval of notice of exemption for the Catella High School Culinary Arts Project.
So moved.
Second.
Very good. Any discussion?
No.
Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That was 4-0. Approved.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
These are actually roll call votes.
Uh-oh.
Oh, well, thank you for catching that.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Okay, we're going to go back to 10.3.
Okay, 10.3.
Okay, so this is resolution number 2023/24-F-04, and thank you for that. This is a roll call vote. Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you. That's 4-0. Next is 10.4, resolution number 2023/24-F-05, and that's a roll call vote. Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Resolution number 10.5, resolution number 2023/24-E-10, Day of the Special Educator.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote. Ms. Piercy?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Randall Trejo?
I'd just like to say thank you to all of our special educators out there, including our support staff and psychologists and custodians out there that support all of our special needs students.
Yes,
So,
and they're special.
aye.
So I vote aye. That's 4-0. 10.6, this is a ratification of lease-leaseback agreement, Neff Construction, Inc., projects at Dale Junior High School, Catella, and Kennedy High Schools, RFP 2023-15.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's 4-0. Ratification of lease-leaseback agreement, Construct One Corp., Orange View Junior High School Site Improvements, RFP number 2023-24.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's 4-0. 10.8, agreements, geotechnical, soils inspections, and material testing services.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
4-0. Special education, we already did 10.1. Now we're on to
10.9.
10.9, excuse me. We're now on 10.10. Agreement, Orange County Department of Education, OCDE, Student Behavioral Health Incentive Program.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's 4-0. Human Resources, 10.11. Memorandum of Understanding, MOU with ASTA, Health and Welfare Program changes for 2024.
Is it possible to take
I was going to
all of
ask,
them?
yes.
Okay.
We can take 10.11, 10.12, 10.13, 10.14, 10.15. That's it.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That's 4-0. 10.16, Memorandum of Understanding, MOU with Cal State University, East Bay.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's 4-0. Superintendent's Office, 10.17, California School Boards Association, CSBA Delegate Assembly nominations.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second.
Second.
Okay, now we have a second. Any discussion on this?
Yes. Okay, I understand that because we've dropped in enrollment in our district, I mean, I'm confused. I
We
mean,
can't have two.
We can't have
We
two.
can only have one.
Okay, we can
And
only
the
have one.
one person has to go through the voting.
Right,
process.
okay.
And who is that one person?
Whoever wants to be.
Are they
somebody up
here?
for
Are they here
re-election?
anywhere?
Huh?
I actually received a nomination from Anaheim Elementary School District. But if my board would also like to nominate me to serve, I would appreciate it.
So you have been, and you'd like to be re-elected, reinserted, I don't know what the
So moved.
okay? So we have a motion and a second for Ms. Randall Trejo.
Sure.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Congratulations, Ms. Randall Trejo, for, at least from the board. We'll see what happens.
All right.
All right. 10.18, Board of Trustees proposed meeting date changes.
I don't know if I want to move this.
You can move it if you
So
want.
moved.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Are you gonna give us a gift?
Yes,
'cause then
words of
maybe
this-
wisdom. Words of wisdom, yeah.
That's two things on that same day for me, so let me tell you.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, I'm sure you can handle it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you for that. It's 4-0. Consent calendar. Anybody wishing to pull anything? I'm pulling 1112 CC and 1113. Anybody else move the balance, or?
Move the balance.
Okay, we have a second on that?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 1112CC and 1113.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Aye. That's 301. Okay, we're now moving back to somewhere back here. How about superintendent and staff report? There we get there. Page 30.
I just want to wish staff, students, and families happy Thanksgiving. It's an opportunity to give thanks to your loved ones, and really hope everybody enjoys their time off.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Anybody else?
I was going to say the same thing. I just want to wish everyone a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Ditto.
We have some dittos?
Yes, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I also did want to share that I had an opportunity to be at Cypress High School and Walker Junior High School this month, and I always appreciate it when they're super welcoming and organized, so thank you.
Nice to hear.
Also would like to just, a lot of gratitude for our staff who are working tirelessly every day to serve our students and our families, and for the families and students that we serve, just very grateful for them as well.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to number 13, Board of Trustees report. Ms. Piercy.
Oh, my goodness, I have to be first? Okay. Since the last board meeting, I've attended a few different meetings. I went to the student discipline meeting, and we were going to meet at Catella this month, but we had to postpone that. But I'm really happy about the idea of taking the discipline committee onto our campuses and meeting with some of the teachers and the discipline committee there on the campus. And then I attended the board study session, and after that, which was very good, and then after that, I went to the Cypress State of the City, which they had this year, which is like last year. They've gone to an evening presentation, and it works out. It's really nice. Then I got to do something that was really fun, and that was a ride-along with our transportation department. I learned a lot, okay? I was really impressed with the driver. I was impressed with how, I went on the route for Catella Heights in the Ponderosa, and you know, how they schedule all this and how they do it, in other words, and how they rendezvous. There's 3 buses, and they kind of rendezvous on one street, and then they, at the right time, then they move and go pick up at the park. And I have to say this, some of our parents have really stepped up, and they're out there in the park kind of shepherding the kids, you know, kind of keeping an eye on them. And that was for like mainly the junior high school kids, which are the ones you really have to corral. Really? So, but it was really nice. And then I learned something too about on the other side of the street from that park where we pick up. It's like, it's a dividing line for school districts. And so we are sending one bus, I believe. We kind of need to look into this because we're losing students because they will go to a Garden Grove school because it's kind of closer and they're not getting transportation. So I think that's something we really need to look into. We might get a few more students for Ball and Loera, right. Anyway, but it was really interesting. I am really impressed with what our bus drivers have to do. And my bus driver was really engaged with the kids. You know, I mean, it wasn't just driving a bus and ignoring the kids. No, I watched him, you know, kind of high-five it with some of the kids. And then one of the kids was kind of sniveling. And so he dug into his back pocket and gave him a throat lozenge and, you know, stuff like that. You know, and I just thought, how neat is that? You know, and he knows his kids, you know, and it's really neat. I was very, very impressed. I suggest anybody do it that hasn't done it because it's a real learning experience. And I've done it for Western. I did that one of them, but this was a real routine. And I was really impressed with the bus driver too, because he looked me up, and so he literally introduced me to the students and told them what, who I was and what I had done, and the fact that I had been on a mayor of Cypress, and I go, wow, he really did research, and so that was really neat. And I enjoyed talking with him and getting to know him too, really, and very, very impressed in Scott and what he's done there and how he maneuvers all these buses and the start times and what have you. It isn't easy. So anyway, I'm going to put a plug in for another bus on that, because I think that might really be something. Then I went to the Cypress Mayor's Prayer Breakfast and then Cypress Women's Conference, where Nancy Neen was one of the panelists. So, and then my last thing was this week. I had kind of a couple weeks there where I didn't do anything because I wasn't feeling great. So Cypress groundbreaking, we did that. We dug the dirt and got going for the new track and football field. Now, and Coach Iman was there. Now, Coach Iman has been there 27 years. My daughter ran for him. So this is really something. I hope he sticks around long enough so he can work with the kids on that new track. So that was kind of fun, and that was it.
Okay, well, I'll be very quick. The Student Discipline Committee was disrupted because of, but I think it'll probably be at Catella next time. Yeah. Look forward to that. And I attended the Cypress High School playing field groundbreaking, and I'm amazed at what Patty Neely does in this district. You are beyond awesome. And Jennifer Brown, our principal, just did a wonderful job. She had the band there, and it was a beautifully done affair and one to be proud of. And today this came in the Anaheim Bulletin. It's a full half-page, marching bands turn up the volume, and this is at Glover Stadium with the Anaheim Union High School District Band. So I'll pass it on this way, and they can pass it back to you.
Okay.
Take a look at it.
I saw that. That's really cool.
Yeah. Always nice.
And I wish everyone a lovely holiday.
And everybody enjoy next week. Relax, eat a lot, have a nice Thanksgiving meeting with family, or wherever you travel. Good luck, the traffic.
Okay, well, speaking of buses, I was able to ride one of the new electric buses in the Fall Festival Parade. For a little while, we got off the bus, and as much as I tried to get back on the bus, the Fall Festival Parade route is aligned with where I work in the daytime, so a lot of the little kids recognize me, and when they would call my name, I have to go out and shake their hand for sure. But it was really a beautiful bus, and again, another wonderful bus driver who was just so happy to oblige all of our craziness. Sal, I think it was, who drove us, a delightful person. And the Fall Festival Parade, I think, thank you, John, for organizing all of that and getting us, and our superintendent, I think that was the intent, to use the bus because of your ankle, but he got out and walked the whole route too. I think we were going to just walk Center Street, and we just ended up staying off the bus. Too much fun. We had so much fun, and Jessica Guerrero as well, as her sister, and we all had a really, really good time. And the ambassadors got the easy ride to get out there and wave. We didn't let them get off the bus because that would have been a little bit too dangerous for them to keep hopping back off and on off the bus. But thank you, John, for arranging that, and we had a really, really great time doing that. I also just yesterday had a bus ride to the Music Center with the wonderful Gilbert staff and students. Again, the connection that Sonita, this speech pathologist, has with someone that works at La Opera. And so I got to see another opera. And oh my goodness, if you have a chance to go see it, it's really kind of an avant-garde type opera. It's not a typical opera, it's new, an original piece, just beautiful, spectacular, beautiful fall colors, beautiful scenery, and amazing, amazing artists. And we actually got to hear the understudy. So if the understudy was that great, I can't even imagine, you know, the person that they had filling that role. So that starts the 18th. But this is Gilbert High School's 4th time invited to the opera. And you could hear a pin drop. Those kids were so enamored with the pageantry of it, and just think about all of the jobs that they're exposed to with the opera, from the you know, the you know, walking in, and the educators, and the lights, the sound, you know, the performance part of it, the costumes. I mean, just all of the exposure. So thank you to Sonita for inviting me again, and I know those students, their cultural experience has been enriched by that experience. And it's called Frida and Diego. So the life of Frida Kahlo and Diego, or the afterlife. So it's really, really visually beautiful. And got to ride the bus in that rain yesterday, and bus driver navigated all of that spectacularly. Attended the Spectacular Band Spectacular, the 60th annual Band Spectacular, and it's just amazing to see all the work that our students put in, and just in a short few weeks, the band programs that they put together. One was really cute. I think it was Kennedy, and their theme was the Little Shop of Horrors. And they brought out the little plant in a puppet size, and then it kept growing, getting bigger and bigger, life size, and they even had a student getting eaten by the plant, if you know that story. So it was really wonderful. So thank you to all who put that together, so that all of our students can see each other's band performances. I attended the Orange County School Board Association AXA dinner, annual dinner, and it's always great to see, you know, the administrators and my fellow colleagues all in one room, and we get to network. I had also attended and crashed their ambassadors meeting. Daniela was gracious enough to let me sit in and listen in on all their secrets and all of their business. I had a great time. So thank you for letting me do that. I attended my regular GASELPA meeting, and I just wanted to invite any of you who are interested. They do workshops throughout the year, not only for our staff, but they also do parent workshops. And the next one coming up is about food sensitivity. And if you have anyone that that may need this workshop, I invite you to go. And I think it's December 6th. There we go. December 7th at 5:30, and it's going to be a virtual presentation. So go on the website and find out. So it's GASELPA, GASELPA, and it's food selectivity, actually. And they're going to try to talk about adding more veggies and using a positive behavioral approach to decrease the non-preferred foods. A lot of times, students that are on the spectrum have a selective eating habits. If you notice, it's a lot of starchy foods, a lot of the crunchy fish crackers and potato chips and that kind of thing. So I thought this was worthwhile training. Also, I attended the monthly ROP meeting, and we were, Brian and I were presented with 3 pathways, and not only were the teachers there to give a presentation, but we also got to hear student testimonials, which are just a blessing, because, you know, as the grown-ups in the room, we always can think that we're doing it right, and we can always, put it down on paper, it looks good, but until I think we get the approval of, straight from the students, can we really say that we are doing it right? And all of the students were amazing, spectacular in their pathways, and they all praised their instructors, so that's what we want. Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Well, I attended the PTA Reflections at Oxford, which is always interesting to see students' work displayed. We all attended the study session in the ROP Conference Center, which was put on by Ed Services, so thank you so much for the presentation. It's very informative, educational for us. For ROP, I attended the vocational nursing graduation, where 24 adults graduated, since it's not high school right now, which they are working on trying to expand the VN program, but the 24 graduates for this quarter, or no, a third of the year. I also was very pleased to be able to attend the Civic Learning Awards, which were earned by Gilbert High School and Dale Junior High. And I was able to attend the Dale Junior High, where the Chief Justice of California made the presentations. And she is so welcoming and interactive with the students. It was very nice to see that. And she was just basically down on our level, just like a normal person. Yeah. Then I was fortunate to attend the Simon Scholar Annual Awards Dinner. And Teacher of the Year, where ROP had 1 nominee, and of course our district had 2 finalists and 1 nominee. So that was exciting to be able to attend that and see just what all the winners, what they give back to the students every year after year. I attended the La Palma City Council, where they recognized the Kennedy girls volleyball team for their Empire League championship. Attended the band spectacular with Miss Randall Trejo sitting next to me, and Miss Guerrero, who is not here, but the 3 of us were there. And of course, the ROP meeting, as Ms. Randall Trejo mentioned. And then I attended the La Palma State of the City report, and they were proud to say that their reserves are at over 50%. So of their budget, so they're doing very well in their finances. Attended the Cypress High School groundbreaking, so looking forward to seeing the end result of that, seeing the new track and the fields, and also I'm looking forward to seeing the Western finalization too. So I'm sure they'll probably happen at the same time exactly. Glad to hear that. And then last night, I came to the district office, and the Anaheim Secondary Council PTA had a reflections gallery here in the La Palma room, and seeing, reading what the students had to say, their thoughts. It was amazing what these young minds are able to present to us, so it's really heartwarming. And then this afternoon, I went to former principal Doug Muncey's memorial service. He passed away last month. So that was my activities for the month. I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. We have, you know, even though we live in difficult times, we live in some difficult areas personally with our families, we are so thankful. We have so much to be thankful for. Just think of what's going on in other parts of the world, and if we can have a sandwich one time during the day, that's so much more than others ever get during the day. So it's just a time to be very thankful for what we have. Moving on to advanced planning, future meeting dates is December 12th. And any suggested agenda items from the board?
Trustee Guerrero
Trustee Guerrero.
requested a Chicana Heritage Resolution for the month of August, and I will second that, or I will bring that forward.
You will bring that forward, okay? Is that something that we're going to discuss, or is that she just requesting that to happen?
I believe that that request was made in September, and it's part of the minutes from that month.
Yeah, it's part of the minute.
Oh, this is part of the minutes. Thank you.
Boy, that's why we have him as a
That's right.
parliamentarian. He
Thank
keeps us
you.
on track.
You do.
Okay.
You do.
All right, so,
That's right, she did do that.
seeing none, we're moving on to 15, adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Thank you, one and all. Have a good evening.